press conference by Foreign Minister Kamikawa will start. Minister, the floor is yours. I have 1 point. This year marks a milestone year of the 70th anniversary since the start of ODA in Japan. As clearly indicated in the Development Cooperation Charter revised in June last year, as the international community is exposed to multiple crises, development cooperation to overcome crises is growing even more important. In this environment, for developing countries, the private sector financing is becoming more important. In particular, to address environment, society, and government issues, sustainable finance has become more important than ever. In order to consider mobilization of new financing for development and to strengthen collaboration of various actors, be they private or public, as of today, under myself, advisory panel on new financing for development is to be established. The panel will discuss new financing for development and the role of ODA as a catalyst within such new financing for development, and will ultimately make a recommendation on how new ODA ought to be. That concludes my initial remarks.
Those of you with questions, please raise your hand. When you're appointed, please come to the microphone and state your name and affiliation and ask your question. Katsurada-san from Kyodo Tsushin. Katsurada from Kyodo Tsushin. So concerning your initial talk, I would like to ask a question. So earlier, you have said that it is very important to gain the understanding of the public concerning diplomacy. So in terms of ODA, in order to gain understanding, what kind of explanation, what kind of communication is required? So in Japan, as a responsible major country, in order for everyone to be able to benefit from peace, based on the rule of law, we will need to maintain and strengthen free and open international order, and also to realize a safe and secure world where human dignity will be protected, and that kind of diplomacy needs to be promoted. In order to do so, one of the important tools of diplomacy is ODA. We would like to strategically and effectively use this further. So, and at the same time, is solving issues in developing countries, dialogue with the developing countries, and through collaboration, by jointly creating social value, we would also like to make efforts so that we can contribute to national interest in Japan as well. So today, the advisory panel on new financing for development has been launched. And this is another way, a new way to strategically and effectively utilize ODA. Now, ODA's source is public finance, public funds. So needless to say, we need the understanding of cooperation of the public. It is supported by that. So the ODA will need to secure safe peace and stability of the national public. And also, this has to contribute to maintaining the people's life and Japan's growth. And how ODA should be in that manner, this is something that we need to continuously pursue, and I would like to take the lead in a detailed explanation of this.
Next question, Murao-san from Mainichi newspaper, please. I am Murao from Mainichi newspaper. Regarding the Middle East, you've traveled to the State Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Tsuji, visited Middle East. And as soon as the suspicions of UNRWA is cleared, funding contribution may be resumed. Regarding the funding contribution resumption to UNRWA and the need thereof, is Japan's position unchanged that it will wait until the investigation results are made available from the United Nations? Japan is deeply concerned about the suspicions regarding the staff of UNRWA. UNRWA plays indispensable roles in providing services to Palestinian refugees, including health, medicine, education, and welfare. UNRWA needs to regain trust and needs to be able to fulfill its roles. and including the enhancement of governance, Japan has been strongly calling for appropriate measures to be taken. As for the prospect of resumption of funding contribution to UNRWA, I'm not able to make any prejudgments, but on the part of Japan, we will be maintaining close communications with the United Nations, UNRWA, and relevant countries, and will actively cooperate in the investigation by the United Nations and verification by the third party.
NHK 五十嵐さんどうぞ。
Igarashi-san from NHK, please. NHK Igarashi is my name. I'd like to talk about the Middle East. Now, the attack in Gaza from Israel military is continuing, and it said that 120 people who were waiting for food and other supplies had been killed by Israelis. And also, until now, there are more than 30,000 people dead. And this is a humanitarian crisis. I would like to ask about your views on this. Now, at this point in time, I cannot predict the actual factual situation. I would like to refrain from that. But I am pained that many civilians have either died or been injured. And I would like to express my sincere sympathy. As the war is prolonged, on a daily basis, many children, women, and elderly, and other people are dying or are injured. And the current humanitarian situation can no longer be ignored. It is a critical situation. So we need to secure an environment where humanitarian activities are possible, and also a humanitarian ceasefire need to be realized as quickly as possible to allow for the immediate release of hostages. And we strongly hope that sustainable ceasefire will be implemented. And based on this, to all parties, inclusive of Israel, we are requesting that action be taken from a humanitarian perspective. So Japan will continue to persistently continue diplomatic efforts for the immediate release of hostages and the improvement of the humanitarian situation, as well as the early settlement of the situation. So various efforts will be made.
はい、では次のご。
Next question, please. Azahari-san from Pan Orient News, please.
News. My question is also about Gaza situation. In principle, Israel has not been listening to any demands or any requests from the international society, and also the United States is supporting the Israeli operation by making veto in the United Nations. And also Japan doesn't seem to condemn Israel for all of this destruction, to the point that it's almost accused by the International Court of Justice of doing genocide in Israel, in Gaza. And also Israel now is invading another country, which is Gaza or Palestine, and also trying to change the status quo by force, which is a principle is rejected by Japanese government. So do you think that Israel needs really to be condemned for these policies and these operations? And also they have a large scale of destruction in Gaza, and they have not been treated in fair way in the international community. Thank you.
As we have stated on the past occasions, on the part of Japan, regarding Israel coming under the Hamas attack, our recognition is that Israel has the right to protect its state and its citizens under the international law. At the same time, all actions must follow international law. Under any circumstances, a basic norm of international humanitarian law must be observed. However, it is difficult to fully grasp the factual relationship, and therefore, to make definitive legal evaluation or assessment of the actions of Israeli military is not appropriate, and Japan has refrained from making legal evaluations. Against this backdrop, the civilian casualty number continues to increase. Whether military actions overall are justifiable under the international law, the situation is such that further accountability of the parties concerned are required. That is certain. In any case, on the part of Japan, towards the early release of hostages and towards the improvement of humanitarian condition locally as soon as possible, and to ensure environment that enables humanitarian assistance activities, Japan once again call for actions in good faith that follows UNSC resolutions, relevant UNSC resolutions. On the part of Japan, we hope that environment will be ensured that enables humanitarian assistance activities and the realization of humanitarian ceasefire that will lead to the release of hostages and sustainable ceasefire to be realized. And to the parties concerned, we once again would like to call for actions that is in line with humanitarian perspective.
Next, Jugok Shinbun, Higuchi-san, please. Higuchi from Jugok Shinbun. So 2 days ago, you mentioned that on March 18th, as one of the member countries of Security Council, they said that there's going to be a meeting concerning nuclear disarmament and non-proliferation. What is the meaning of this? And because U.S., China, Russia, they are weapon states, but they are the permanent members of the Security Council. And I think it is a very good opportunity to push for nuclear disarmament. So I would like to ask for your views. Now, first of all, the significance of holding this meeting, there was a question related to that. And the situation relating nuclear disarmament is becoming increasingly tough. So now, in order to realize a world without nuclear weapons, we need the cooperation of weapon states to come up with realistic and practical initiatives, and this needs to be promoted in a steady way. So under this context, the NPT Review Conference, we are in the interim year this year. So while we are the chair of the UNSC this month, at the Security Council with the participation of weapon states to realize the world without nuclear weapons, to carry out such discussions is very significant, we believe. In May of last year, at the G7 Leaders Hiroshima Summit, the G7 Leaders Hiroshima Vision on Nuclear Disarmament was issued. And based on the output of that, to have substantive discussions between weapon states and non-weapon states, this should be accelerated, and this is what we need to aim for. In addition, there was a question concerning how the meeting is going to be held. In terms of the meeting, it is going to be a public briefing. So that is what is currently planned. So we are coordinating so that the meeting will be held among the 15 permanent members. For international peace and security, maintenance of that, we have major responsibility. So in the Security Council, where the weapon states will be participating, we'd like to take advantage of that characteristic so that we have substantive and intensive discussions. It would be and we need to think what would be the optimum for it. And based on past experience as well, we would like to coordinate amongst the members as well. And the outcome document, so this is a relevant question, Jugok Shinbun, Higuchi, once again. So I would like to confirm from what you have just said. So from outside SC members, there is an interest, heightened interest on this. So are you thinking of opening the gates, opening the doors to non-SC members as well? And also the output document. Are you thinking of adopting such an output document? So these are the two additional questions. Now, concerning the formality or how it's going to be how the meeting is going to be held, I said that we are coordinating, and it will be a public briefing type of meeting. We are coordinating amongst the 15 member states. And concerning the outcome document, inclusive of the adoption, nothing has been decided at this point in time in terms of the details. But in any case, at the G7 Hiroshima Summit meeting in May, the G7 Leaders Hiroshima Vision on Nuclear Disarmament, based on that output, we would like to aim at accelerating substantive discussions amongst the weapon states and non-weapon states. So that is what we'd like to aim for. Thank you.
次のご質問。
Next question, Nishimura-san from Radio France, please. I'm Nishimura from Radio France. Regarding the death penalty system of Japan, I have a question. For various reasons, EU countries are criticizing Japan's death penalty system. Minister Kamikawa, on the occasion of your visit to the EU countries, has this issue been pointed out to you? From overseas, regarding death penalty system, there are criticisms, and what is your view? First of all, the question was on death penalty system. Death penalty system itself is outside of the jurisdiction of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, but I am aware that there are various discussions regarding the death penalty system. Retention or abolition of death penalty system is an important matter that is involved in the core of a criminal justice system in Japan. Public opinion must be duly taken into consideration, and social justice realization and various other perspectives must be carefully considered. In meeting with counterparts from various countries, when necessary, such position of Japan has been explained, but these are diplomatic exchanges, and I will refrain from giving you the details.
次のご質問。
Next question, please. From Mainichi Shimbun, Murao-san, please. Mainichi Shimbun, Murao is my name. So concerning politics and money, the Professional Ethics Committee has been held, and the current Prime Minister is participating for the first time, and the Prime Minister took the initiative and said he will participate. That is recognized, but there are dissatisfactions again concerning the explanation. So whether or not it can lead to understanding of the public, I am interested to know your views. Now, concerning the issue related to political funding, we very much understand that we need to recover the trust by the public. And yesterday at the House of Representatives and the Politics Ethics Committee, Prime Minister Kishida participated. And based on the allegations and the tough eyes by the public concerning political funding, I think he made an effort in order to fully explain as top of the LDP. Internal affairs and foreign affairs are inseparable. And I also, as I've been saying ever since I assumed this current post, I would like to carry out diplomacy that will be understood and be supported by the public. And this is what I have been saying. So based on this policy in diplomacy as well, this is something I would like to continue to do.
次のご質問。
Next question, please. Katsurada-san from Kyoto, please. I'm Katsurada from Kyoto. Additional sanctions on Russia was recently announced. The asset freeze of people related to Russian Federation and ban on the import of Russian diamond were approved. Could you comment on this and future measures by Japan? Since the start of aggression on Ukraine by Russia, it became 2 years on February the 24th. On that day, G7 summit meeting via video link was held. As G7, it was once again confirmed that Russian sanctions will be strongly promoted. In this meeting, Prime Minister Kishida also announced that additional sanction measures will be imposed. Regarding the additional sanction measures, today on March the 1st, Japan made a necessary cabinet approval. And as for the sanctions, there are three. First, additional designation of Russian individuals and groups that will be subject to asset freeze and export bans. And the second is export ban on the materials that will contribute to enhancing industrial infrastructure of Russia. And the third is ban of indirect import of non-industrial diamond originating from Russia. Going forward, on the part of Japan, we will continue to work together with international community, including the G7. This is the end of the press conference. Thank you very much.